money the way we wanted to. People had more than one car per family, and they were buying new houses and having fun. They were going bowling and playing cards, and people were able to enjoy themselves. Citizens could go and participate in recreational activities and not have to worry about the troubles with money. So the 1940s altogether was just a great change from having to worry about money to being able to do what you wanted to with your money. In the early 1940s, cars were not seen in every household, but by the time that the late 1940s came, after the war, people had cars, maybe 2 per household. A lot of this had to do with gas rations and just the extreme high prices of these cars. Now, gas rations were where each family had their own ration of gas. They could only buy so much gas at a time. So once this was banned, people were able to buy as much gas as they needed to do things such as travel or visit family and just participate in whatever they wanted to.
I was drafted into the Army when I was 18 years old and taken basic training in Camp Cook, California. They were training a whole regiment of medical personnel there.
On December 7th, 1945, this country saw the biggest declaration of war that it's ever seen, Pearl Harbor. It led to many things in this country, such as national fear and Japanese internment camps.
Much like it is here, but it didn't get cold there. Well, we were there until left there in February, and it was still, weather was pretty mild. And while I was there just about a year, and wasn't too much difference in the weather from beginning to until we got out and I came back home.
Did it rain a lot?
No, it didn't rain very much. It rained very low. Well, just common food mostly. We had meat, and had potatoes, and we had beans. And, once in a while we'd have Jello, and that's pretty much it. Of course, in the morning for breakfast, you usually had some sort of cereal, dry cereal of some sort.
But nothing fresh, right?
Nothing fresh, no. A lot of it was dehydrated. Fruits, whatever, was dehydrated food. All in there. He had gone out on the observation post to check on the 4th Marine Division. They were in combat there, and the Japanese, of course, they wanted to get our leaders was first, you know. Anyway, they picked him out there, and the Japanese dropped a mortar shell in there on him, and General Buckner got killed by shrapnel through the chest. There's 2 slices through the chest, one about a 3-inch gash, and another spot there. I don't know just how big it was, but this one showed up real plain, the one there about 3 inches through the upper part of his chest. So that's about the worst thing I saw was.
During the 1940s, women's attire became more oriented towards the workplace. They started wearing jeans and their sleeves became longer. But outside the workforce, women's clothes became more skimpier. Their shirts got shorter and their bathing suits began to reveal more skin. Overall, everything was becoming more liberal. The hat made the man in the 1940s. If you went out about the town and did not have a spiffy hat, you were looked down upon. The zoot suit and very flamboyant ties also were a part of the men's attire during the 1940s.
During the 1940s and World War II, media really came into play. They made different war posters calling young men to enlist in the army. Such things as quotes saying, "Daddy, tell me what you did in the Great War." Really giving a guilt trip to the young men who hadn't enlisted or hadn't been drafted into the army. Today, we call these posters propaganda, and they have been used effectively all throughout history. Another form of propaganda that was used in the 1940s were the different posters of working women. They were called Rosy Riveters, and they had their blue jean shirts and jackets and pants, and they had a red handkerchief on their head. And they usually showed them either doing heavy lifting or doing showing the muscle, showing how tough women could actually be. This really helped to have women take on the call of duty, so to speak, since their husbands and their sons and brothers did the same thing. It was a way for them to help back up their men. Since they were working in factories building airplanes or building machine guns, or just any other kind of weapons, they were there for their men in that kind of way. They were still backing them up in their own way to help the war effort. So these propaganda helped to get many more women involved in the war effort.